Hey everybody in Pre-AP. Uh, we're starting a new project today. It's a Scratch Dialog project, and this is where we use Dialog to tell a story. This week you've been practicing using the broadcast commands, and that's one of the key components to these exercises. You're going to build a new story with the dialogue, and I'd like you to choose a current event or a school-related topic or maybe sports for your dialogue between a couple different sprites, maybe up to three actually. So we have some minimum requirements of what we want to see in your project. So what we did is provide you a file called broadcast.sb as a sample program. It's really just to run it and learn from it, but I'm going to show it to you in this video, so maybe you don't even need to do that, but it might be some tips and techniques. And we definitely don't want your video to look anything like this one I've made tonight. But you need to start a new and unique project. And it's more fun that way because it's something you want to talk about or some conversation you want to hold. So let's go ahead and name it the project file, your name. So capitalize your first name, no space, capitalize your last name. We have to get used to some naming conventions in our programming classes. You're going to see that more for the rest of the year as we move out of Scratch. And then we're going to add dash broadcast.sb3. So type that in at the top of the Scratch screen. Now use Scratch to make a dialogue between two or more characters, and that's per scene. You're going to do multiple scenes in this project. Each must speak three or more statements. Those are say commands. Each of them has three or more say commands. The project should reset itself and start over when the flag is clicked. You need to have two scene changes. So that's a starting screen, change to another screen, and then to a third screen to wrap up your story. All the characters should be polite. Wait for the other sprite to stop talking before they talk. And so you control that using broadcast, send and receive commands. So when one finishes speaking, send a message to the other sprite that it's his turn to talk using your techniques you learned in the broadcast section so far. Each sprite should say at least three statements on each scene. Due to time constraints, we want you to use existing scenes and sprites already within Scratch. Do not take the time to build new sprites or get creative on backgrounds. There are plenty of them out here, and you should be able to come up with a common theme that builds a great story. So develop some logical transitions between your scene, like say, hey, let's go play outside. And if you're going to do something like that, well, animate your objects and show them moving or running off the screen to the outside environment. Have them walk up and talk to each other, something like that. Have a vehicle move and crash into a wall. I don't know. Just get creative. We want to see animation and all the things you've been learning incorporated into this. But it needs to be self-running, not driven by keystrokes. So keep the dialogue appropriate, use proper grammar and punctuation, and no slang. And guys, no texting language, nothing like that. Make this, like I said, proper grammar and punctuation. I've been doing this quite a few years, and I know what you guys like to do versus what you should do. Don't forget capitalization. Show two or more show your character dialogue project to your teacher for a grade. And actually, I think we're going to go ahead and submit that this year. So we'll submit that online in Canvas. But your teacher may want to see it before you submit it. So that's a good checkpoint to get with your teacher and see if you've met the minimum requirements before you submit it on Friday or Friday afternoon. Minimum requirements are 39%, proper grammar and punctuation, different backgrounds, two or more sprites, proper use of coding resources, creativity, productivity, animation, wow factors, coolness, unique ideas. We're trying to get you to do the best project you can do that makes us go, hey man, that's a cool project. So let's take a look real quick at what your project could look like. So now this is kind of corny, but this is one of the simple little starter projects, and the code behind it is really where you see the power. But let's go ahead and run this. There's no sound and no animation in this one. All right, well, that's the end of the show. So let's take a look at what's going on here in the scratch screens. I'm going to give you a little more room to look at this. All right, so we start with the dog. He's in a specific costume, says hello. I'm going to show you how to use broadcasting. And then it says show sprite. And that's when you saw the little sprite number 4 pop up on the white screen. That was the broadcast block. He's going to say a few more things than he told you he was going to say broadcast inside. Well, when I receive inside, now the dog has some things to do. And then he changes it into a cat. Changes his costume, says something, changes to a cat. And when you see broadcast change cat, you see that first the sprite 3 had received go inside. This is where they switched to the bedroom. And when I received change cat, he switched costumes from the cat to a dog. So everything is controlled using broadcasting. And when he said it, let's go outside, he broadcasted outside. And outside he had new things to say. And the dog was also still there with him. Now, this doesn't quite meet minimum requirements that we've set for you, but I wanted you to get some ideas of just implementing a simple project using broadcast commands. Remember, you have to have more sprites. You got to say more things. We want to see animation, and we're looking forward to seeing some really great projects.